King Charles is heckled by Andrew protesters saying, "How long have you known?" as he and Fergie prepare to leave Royal Lodge for separate dwellings. King Charles was heckled during a cathedral visit today by a protester who bluntly confronted him about Prince Andrew and Giuffre Epstein's relationship. The anti-monarchy demonstrator from the campaign group Republic yelled questions about the prince and convicted sex trafficker Epstein as the king visited Lichfield Cathedral in Staffordshire. As the king passed past, the demonstrator yelled, "How long have you known about Andrew and Epstein? Have you urged the police to cover up for Andrew? Should MPs be allowed to discuss the royals in the House of Commons?" In keeping with the royal family's typical attitude to unpleasant questions or criticism, never complain, never explain, the king chose to ignore the heckler, displaying no reaction. Other individuals outside Lichfield Cathedral begged the heckler to shut up as the king made his way through the crowd, greeting supporters and tuning out the ruckus. It comes as the king faces rising pressure to remove his brother out of his royal lodge house, where he has lived rent-free for over 20 years. Andrew has only paid peppercorn rent for the previous 20 years, and while he originally sought to dig his heels in by citing the conditions of his cast-iron lease with the Crown Estate, it is anticipated he will ultimately move out. The prince still has 50 years left on his prepaid lease, and it is not clear exactly how much money he could recover in compensation for the £7.5 million he has spent on Royal Lodge improvements. Last night, it was alleged Andrew and Fergie have finally agreed to leave their vast property, but have boldly demanded 2 homes in return. The 65-year-old is claimed to have sought Harry and Meghan's previous home, Frogmore Cottage, while Fergie is eyeing up nearby Adelaide Cottage ahead of William and Kate's departure next month. The prince's links to Epstein have dominated headlines recently with fresh spotlight on his sex accuser Virginia Giuffre's claims after her post-mortem book was published. Last week, the Mail on Sunday reported that Andrew tried to use the Metropolitan Police and one of Queen Elizabeth's most senior advisors in a plot to discredit Virginia Giuffre, who had accused him of assaulting her as a teenager. A stunning email obtained exposed how Andrew urged his taxpayer-funded police bodyguard to investigate the lying young woman. Shockingly, the prince passed on details of her date of birth and social security number, apparently handed to him by Epstein. He also claimed Virginia, who took her own life earlier this year, had criminal convictions, an allegation which has not been backed up by any evidence or confirmed by police, and has been vigorously refuted by her family. An earlier email expose demonstrated that Andrew lied to Buckingham Palace and the British public when he claimed he had cut off all contact with his close friend in December 2010, following Epstein's release from prison on child sex charges. 12 weeks later, he wrote the pedophile financier to say they were in this together, and sickeningly stated his intention to play some more soon. His estranged wife, Sarah Ferguson, who has also been residing in Royal Lodge, came under scrutiny in recent weeks as stunning new letters suggested Epstein had secretly bankrolled her for 15 years. The convicted pedophile complained to friends about the disgraced Duchess's scrounging habits in communications that imply his financial support extended much beyond the £15,000 she admitted collecting from him. In the previously uncovered emails, Epstein admits Fergie was so keen to warm up to him that she was the first to rejoice his release from jail with her 2 girls in tow. Princess Beatrice would have been 20 at the time and Eugenie 19, the same age as many of his victims. The disturbing assertions are contained in a significant volume of documents under review by the U.S. Congress. They are set to be disclosed once they have been redacted to protect the identity of hundreds of young girls Epstein raped and sexually abused. Last month, the Moes revealed how Fergie wrote to Epstein calling him his supreme friend, just weeks after giving an interview stating she would never have anything to do with the sex offender ever again, resurrecting the scandal that prompted her and Andrew renounce their titles on Friday. In the London Evening Standard interview on March 7th, 2011, Fergie expressed a heartfelt apologies for accepting £15,000 from Epstein and called it a big error of judgment. The reply enraged the financier, who sent an email to his friend, French modeling agent Jean-Luc Brunel, same day, complaining. The princess that I have financially aided for 15 years declared that she wanted nothing to do with a pedophile and child sex abuser. It has made quite a commotion. Brunel was eventually caught on rape accusations and killed himself in jail in 2022, 3 years after Epstein's own jail suicide. Epstein demanded Fergie write him a public letter of apology over the interview and threatened to sue her if she did not. In Ms. Giuffre's posthumous biography, she said Prince Andrew stated that Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie were only a little younger than you on the first night they supposedly had sex. On the day Ms. Giuffre says she met the prince in March 2001, Maxwell woke her up at her London townhouse and told her she was going to have a wonderful day, and exactly like Cinderella, she would meet a handsome prince. When Andrew came, Maxwell urged him to guess her age. The prince, then 41, guessed properly that she was 17. She recounted, and he added, "My girls are just a little younger than you." Ms. Giuffre said she recalls dashing for her disposable camera to shoot the now notorious image of her with Andrew, claiming that my mom would never forgive me if I saw someone as renowned as Prince Andrew and didn't pose for a picture. The prince has repeatedly refuted her charges. Later that night, Ms. Giuffre claimed she went to Tramp nightclub with Andrew, Epstein, and Maxwell, when the prince sweated profusely, despite him later stating a medical condition made this impossible. Maxwell commanded her, "When we go home, you are to do for him what you do for Giuffre." Ms. Giuffre doubled down on her claim she and Andrew had a bath together. She wrote, "We didn't stay there long since the prince was impatient to get to the bed. Afterward, he said thank you in his clipped British accent. In my memory, the whole incident lasted less than half an hour." She added, "He was pleasant enough, but none the less entitled, as if he believed having sex with me was his entitlement." Epstein eventually handed her $15,000 for servicing the man the media called Randy Andy, she added. Ms. Giuffre repeated her passionately rejected accusation that Andrew took part in an orgy with her and about 8 other young females on Epstein's Caribbean island of Little St. James, known as Pedo Island, in 2001. She wrote, "It was not just the two of us this time. It was an orgy. The other girls all seemed and appeared to be under the age of 18 and didn't actually speak English." Epstein chuckled about how they couldn't really converse, adding they're the easiest girls to get along with. Andrew has always fiercely disputed Ms. Giuffre's charges.